It's a drug, but it will soon be available by recommendation here in Maryland. We're talking about medical marijuana, and in the next half hour, we'll take a look at how it became legal, the big business behind it all, and the reason one drug abuse expert says this is a big mistake. Thanks for joining us for this edition of 11 TV Hill on medical marijuana. I'm Jason Newton, and back in 2014, Maryland became the 21st state to pass a medical marijuana bill. Today, 23 states and the District of Columbia have laws legalizing marijuana in some form. 4 states and the district have legalized marijuana for recreational use. Earlier this month, Ohio voted against a bill that would have legalized marijuana for both medicinal and recreational use. And the big question is, how do we get here? Here's a look. From chronic pain to treating conditions associated with MS, the benefits of using marijuana as a prescription drug have been debated for some time. As that debate rages on, some states are moving on, including Maryland. Maryland's path to pot sparked years ago, leading to last year's approval of medicinal marijuana to be grown and sold in the state. The process began back in 2011 as the O'Malley administration approved the use of the drug by some qualified patients without worry of arrest. From there, an agreement allowing research universities to run medical marijuana programs, but none stepped forward, bringing us to 2014 when a redirected effort was approved in Annapolis. Patients with a doctor's prescription and registration with the state's Medical Cannabis Commission can legally smoke pot. That same group gives its blessing to growers for a fee, $125,000 per year for 2 years. Dispensaries would pay $40,000 a year, and shops selling marijuana-infused products would pay the same.
We want to get this program up and running, and we want to get marijuana in the hands of patients. We want to have growers happy, we want to have dispensers happy, and we want to make this a success for the state of Maryland.
The debate now moves to localities to handle zoning requirements. Dispensaries are expected to be up and running by next year. Now, if you're interested in applying to grow, process, or dispense medical marijuana, well, you missed the deadline. Applications were due in November the 6th. They'll be processed through January. Now, state officials say zoning approval is not required during this pre-approval stage. Now, so far, these are preliminary numbers. About 355 applications have been processed by the state's Cannabis Commission. That number, it includes 50 growers, 36 processors, and 269 dispensers. Again, these numbers are just preliminary. Joining us now is the head of the Maryland Medical Cannabis Commission, Hannah Byron. I appreciate you coming by.
Yes, thank you for having me.
When you see those preliminary numbers, are you surprised? Other commissioners surprised? The number of people who have signed up?
Well, you know, we've seen that there's an incredible amount of interest from the industry to come to Maryland, and so those numbers are preliminary, and so we will have additional numbers by the end of the week, but we're tabulating those applications right now, and there is an incredible interest from the industry statewide.
Talk about the interest within the state. What do you think tipped the scales for lawmakers to decide that this is something that the state wanted and or needed?
Well, as you indicated, this has been a long process,
Sure.
Starting with the academic medical centers. And so, you know, you want to get it right. And so the state has taken a look at this very, very closely. 2 sets of regulations have actually been considered. They have been refined based on a lot of feedback from the industry, from the public. And so we think we have one of the best models in the country.
I'll tell you something that I deal with, at least personally, as I hear about it. In middle school, I can remember Mr. Moore's health class, and they have a list of drugs, and marijuana was on it. I read an article, and you also changed the name from Marijuana Commission to Cannabis Commission. How important and how difficult will it be to get the 2 messages out? That yes, it's a drug, but also it can have a beneficial use.
Well, in terms of cannabis, that is the proper scientific name for the medicine. So we felt very strongly that we needed to have the name changed. Marijuana is more of a colloquial slang term for the medicine, and it is medicine, and it's medicine for sick people, and it helps with a range of conditions. And so the research has shown that it's very, very helpful, and the research has also shown that no one has ever overdosed on marijuana, so we feel that it's a very safe product.
Sure, but as a parent of an 8-year-old, I'm going to have a difficult time describing that to him, saying the difference of the two. So will this be a message that we'll have to tell in different ways for someone who needs a drug versus someone you want to keep away from a drug?
I think that between the industry and the commission, we're going to work towards marketing and communicating with the public about the benefits. And I think the more that the public learns about it, I think the more they'll realize it's a wonderful alternative to pharmaceutical drugs and addictive opioids.
Talk a little bit about security and making sure that the person who comes in and signs up and has this recommendation from a doctor has a case that needs marijuana?
Right. Well, so what will happen is we have registries that we have set up. The physician registry is currently live. The patient will have to have a bona fide relationship with their physician.
Okay.
So we have the structure and the processes in place to make sure that it's a very safe system.
Sure. Talk to me about the steps that are going on right now. So all these applications have come in for different levels, growers, processors, so forth. What happens next?
So we're again in the process of tabulating all those applications, and once we have had a chance to fully integrate them into our system, we're working with a third-party evaluator, the Regional Economic Studies Institute from Towson University. We will be looking at our timeline because of the volume of applications. There may be shifts in terms of when we will be able to meet some of those deadlines, but they will be doing the review with subject matter experts and doing it on scoring based on the criteria in the application. That scoring information will go back to the Commission for a final vote.
Once you're up and running, if I'm a grower or dispenser, talk about my responsibilities when it comes to security or checking IDs or making sure I'm giving it to the right person. That's got to be a huge part of the program.
Oh, absolutely. The regulations are very stringent. They're stringent in terms of quality control for the medicine. They're stringent in terms of security and access. And we've been commended for having a very strong regulatory system in place to protect the public, but also to make sure that all of those systems are, security, quality assurance for the medicine, so public access. So I think all of those things are covered in the regulations.
Sure. One of the big stories that we see out of Colorado is the economic story, about $70 million in one fiscal year. I think that was last year. Here in Maryland, we use fees instead of taxing. Some people are wondering, well, what happens to that money and how do we deal with it? And is it about economics just as much as it is about health? Let's talk money all together here. I know I threw a lot at you there.
Right, that's okay. Well, keep in mind that Colorado has recreational use, and that is not something that the Commission is involved with.
Sure.
So in terms of the economic benefits, certainly there's going to be economic growth and job creation as a result of this new industry. It's medicine, it's agriculture, it's manufacturing, it's retail. It's standing up an entire new industry in the state of Maryland. So we do see that there will be a huge economic impact.
Any concern at home, like mom or dad may have this recommendation, a child may see marijuana at home and may get the wrong impression of what's going on there? Or is there just teaching at home that has to happen?
Well, keep in mind also cannabis has been shown to be very helpful to children, and it's something that parents are eagerly waiting to help treat their children and their loved ones. So I think that people will be responsible and they'll understand how they need to keep the product safe.
Great. So sometime by next year, we'll see this all up and running and moving along its way.
Well, again, that's going to depend. We're having to really look at the volume of the applications that have come in now and really sort of assess where we're going to be.
Hannah, thanks so much.
Sure.
It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Good
you
to
coming
see
by.
you.